More than 70% of our planet is covered by ocean, yet the deepest parts of it remain almost completely unknown. Every day, thousands of ships travel across these endless waters. But throughout history, some ships have disappeared without warning. No final message. No survivors. No clear explanation. Only an empty ocean left behind. For centuries, sailors have returned with stories of terrifying things hiding beneath the waves. They described enormous shadows moving under their ships. Strange sounds echoing from the darkness below. And creatures so massive that they seemed impossible to exist. Many people believed these were only myths created by fear and imagination. But the ocean has always been full of surprises. Because even today, scientists continue discovering strange creatures living in places where humans can barely survive. So what if some ancient legends were not completely fictional? What if they were inspired by real encounters with something humans could not understand? The most frightening ocean mysteries often begin in the same way. Not with a storm. Not with giant waves. But with silence. A calm ocean. A quiet horizon. A moment when everything feels completely normal. Then suddenly, the wind disappears. The waves stop moving. And the endless sea becomes strangely peaceful. Experienced sailors have always feared this moment. Because sometimes, the calmest ocean is hiding the greatest danger beneath its surface. Today, we are diving into the mysterious world of legendary sea creatures, unexplained ocean sounds, and stories that have terrified sailors for generations. From the terrifying sea monk of Japan to mysterious giants hidden in the deepest parts of the ocean. These are the creatures that make us wonder one incredible question. What is really waiting below the waves? And our journey begins with one of Japan's most mysterious ocean legends. The Umibozu, the sea monk. Have you ever wondered why experienced sailors fear a calm ocean more than a violent storm? It sounds impossible, but some of the world's oldest maritime records describe ships that sailed into perfectly still waters, only to disappear forever. No distress calls. No survivors. No wreckage. Just endless ocean. Even today, the deep sea remains one of the greatest mysteries on Earth. Scientists have mapped the moon in greater detail than the ocean floor, and more than 95% of the deep ocean is still unexplored. Every expedition uncovers strange new creatures that challenge what we thought was possible. So what if some of the terrifying legends passed down by sailors weren't completely invented? What if ancient myths were inspired by real encounters with things that people simply couldn't explain? In this video, we're diving into some of the most mysterious sea creatures ever described. Some come from centuries-old folklore, while others are connected to real scientific discoveries that continue to puzzle researchers today. As we go, ask yourself one question. If you were alone in the middle of the ocean, and something massive began rising beneath your ship, would you know what to do? Let's begin with one of Japan's most chilling legends. Chapter 1, Umibozu, the Sea Monk. For hundreds of years, Japanese sailors believed there was one mistake that could cost an entire crew their lives. It wasn't sailing during a storm. It wasn't navigating dangerous reefs. It was trusting a calm sea. According to ancient legends, the ocean sometimes becomes unnaturally quiet just before disaster strikes. The wind suddenly disappears. The waves stop moving. Birds vanish from the sky. Even the sound of the water fades into complete silence. Veteran fishermen saw this as a warning. They believed something beneath the surface was watching. Then, without warning, the sea explodes. A gigantic black figure slowly rises from the darkness. At first, it looks like a smooth, rounded rock. But as it continues climbing higher, two enormous glowing eyes appear, silently staring at everyone on deck. This terrifying creature is known as Umibozu, which translates to sea monk, named after its smooth, bald head that resembles a Buddhist monk. Ancient stories describe it as a towering giant, easily larger than the tallest sailing ships of its time. Some legends even suggest it could reach well over 100 meters in height. But its appearance is only the beginning. Without making a sound, enormous arms emerge from beneath the waves. They stretch toward the ship like living shadows, wrapping around the wooden hull with incredible strength. The vessel begins to groan. Planks crack. Masts bend. Crew members lose their balance as the ship is dragged across the water as though it weighs nothing at all. Panic spreads across the deck. Some sailors pray. Others try to row away. But according to the legends, almost no one escapes. One of the strangest stories says the creature sometimes asks sailors for a barrel. If they hand over an ordinary barrel, Umibozu fills it with seawater until the ship sinks. To outsmart the creature, experienced sailors supposedly carried a barrel with no bottom, hoping it would confuse the monster long enough for them to escape. Of course, there is no scientific evidence that Umibozu actually exists. Many historians believe the legend may have originated from encounters with rogue waves, waterspouts, giant whales, or unusual weather conditions that terrified sailors long before modern science could explain them. Yet the mystery remains fascinating. Even today, Japanese fishermen still tell stories about strange shadows beneath their boats and sudden moments of silence that make them think twice before continuing their journey. Whether myth or misunderstood reality, Umibozu reminds us that the ocean has always inspired both wonder and fear. Chapter 2, The Bloop, a mystery recorded by science. Unlike Umibozu, this next mystery didn't begin with an ancient legend. It began with real scientific equipment. In 1997, researchers monitoring the Pacific Ocean detected an incredibly powerful low-frequency sound coming from somewhere deep beneath the water. The signal was unlike anything they had recorded before. It was so loud that underwater listening stations thousands of kilometers apart picked it up at nearly the same time. Scientists gave the mysterious sound a simple name: the bloop. At first, nobody knew what had created it. Some researchers believed it might be an unusual geological event. Others suggested shifting ice deep in Antarctica. But outside the scientific community, imaginations exploded. People wondered if the sound had come from an undiscovered creature so enormous that it dwarfed even the largest blue whale. The idea quickly spread across the world. Could something gigantic still be hiding in the deepest parts of the Pacific Ocean? As researchers continued studying similar recordings, most concluded that the sound was likely produced by massive Antarctic icebergs cracking beneath the ocean. But the mystery left an important reminder. The deep sea is still one of the least explored places on our planet. Every year, scientists discover new species living in total darkness under crushing pressure, creatures with transparent bodies, glowing organs, and bizarre shapes that seem more like science fiction than reality. If animals this strange exist today, what else is still waiting to be discovered? In the next part, we'll investigate the mysterious giant known as Julia, and the legendary living island called Shinzensu, a creature so enormous that generations of sailors mistook it for land. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, there is a world where sunlight disappears, pressure becomes powerful enough to crush ordinary machines, and strange creatures survive in conditions that seem impossible. For centuries, sailors have reported seeing enormous shapes moving beneath the waves. Some stories were probably mistakes caused by darkness and fear. But others were inspired by real animals that were discovered only after scientists developed better technology. The deeper we explore, the more we realize one thing. The ocean is still full of surprises. And some of its mysteries are so fascinating that they continue to inspire legends around the world. Chapter 3, Julia, the unknown giant of the deep. In the cold waters near Antarctica, researchers have recorded some of the strangest sounds ever detected in the ocean. One of these mysteries became known as Julia. The story began when an unusual underwater sound was captured by scientific monitoring equipment. The strange noise traveled through the deep ocean, leaving researchers searching for an explanation. Unlike normal ocean sounds, this signal appeared powerful and unusual. It created theories about what could possibly produce such a massive noise in one of the most remote places on Earth. Some people imagined a gigantic unknown creature moving through the darkness below. A creature so large that its movements could send vibrations through the entire ocean. But what could actually create something like this? The deep Antarctic waters are home to some of the harshest conditions on the planet. Below the surface, temperatures remain near freezing, pressure increases dramatically, and very few creatures can survive. Yet life exists there. Scientists have discovered giant squid, massive jellyfish, and other unusual animals that look like they belong in a science fiction movie. Legends describing Julia often imagine it as a huge whale-like creature with a powerful body, enormous jaws, and a presence that dominates the dark ocean. But unlike mythical sea monsters, real deep-sea animals have taught scientists an important lesson. Nature does not need imagination to create something unbelievable. The giant squid was once considered a legend. For hundreds of years, sailors told stories about enormous tentacles attacking ships. Many people laughed at these stories until scientists finally found evidence that these creatures were real. Today, researchers believe there may still be many large ocean species waiting to be discovered. So while Julia remains a mystery, the possibility of unknown giants living in the deep ocean continues to capture human curiosity. Because the question is not only what we have found. The bigger question is, what is still hiding below? ## Chapter 4, Shenzhensu, the Living Island. Imagine sailing across the ocean after days of searching for land. Your crew is exhausted. Your supplies are running low. Then, on the horizon, you see what appears to be an island. A perfect place to rest. A place to step onto solid ground. That is exactly what happened in one of the most fascinating sea legends ever told. A group of sailors discovered what looked like a small island in the middle of the ocean. The surface appeared covered with sand, rocks, and natural formations. Without hesitation, they approached. They lowered their boats. They stepped onto the mysterious land. But then something impossible happened. The ground moved. At first, they thought it was an earthquake. Then the island began rising from the water. The sailors suddenly realized the terrifying truth. They were not standing on land. They were standing on a living creature. According to the legend, the massive beast slowly awakened beneath them. Water rushed around its enormous body as waves grew larger and larger. The creature moved through the ocean, carrying an entire ecosystem on its back. Over centuries, coral, sand, plants, and marine life had collected on its shell, making it look exactly like a small island. The creature became known as Shenzhensu, a legendary ocean giant. Scientists have never discovered a creature like this, but the idea is connected to something real. Some marine animals can grow to enormous sizes. Giant turtles, whales, and other long-living species show that nature can create animals far larger than humans once imagined. The ocean also contains floating ecosystems made from plants, coral fragments, and marine debris. From a distance, these natural formations could easily confuse ancient sailors. Stories like Shenzhensu may have started from real observations mixed with imagination. And that is what makes ocean legends so interesting. They are not just stories about monsters. They are reminders of a time when humans looked across endless oceans and wondered what unknown worlds existed beneath the waves. But the mysteries are far from over. Because in the next part, we enter the world of the most famous sea monster legend of all time. The Kraken. A creature that has terrified sailors for hundreds of years and inspired countless stories of ships disappearing beneath the ocean. For thousands of years, humans have looked at the ocean with a mixture of curiosity and fear. It covers more than 2/3 of our planet, yet most of its deepest areas remain unexplored. Hidden beneath those endless waves are environments where strange creatures survive, where sounds travel across thousands of kilometers, and where the unknown still exists. Throughout history, sailors have returned with stories of enormous creatures capable of destroying ships and disappearing into the darkness. Some of these tales were exaggerated. Some were misunderstandings. But some were inspired by real animals that were so unusual they seemed impossible. And now, we reach the final chapter of our journey into the mysteries of the deep. Chapter 5, The Kraken, the legend that terrified sailors. Few sea monsters are as famous as the Kraken. For centuries, sailors across Scandinavia told stories about a gigantic creature hiding beneath the waves. They believed it was so massive that when it rose from the ocean, its body could be mistaken for an island. Ancient legends described ships sailing through calm waters when suddenly the ocean around them began changing. The waters started moving in strange patterns. The ship slowed down. The crew looked over the side, searching for an explanation. Then they saw it. Huge tentacles rising from the darkness below. The legendary Kraken was said to have powerful arms covered with hundreds of strong suckers, allowing it to grab ships and pull them beneath the surface. Sailors believed that once the Kraken attacked, escape was impossible. But what makes this legend fascinating is that it may have been inspired by something real. For centuries, giant squid were considered creatures of myth. Sailors reported seeing enormous tentacles in the ocean, but many people refused to believe such animals existed. Then science proved them wrong. Giant squid are real. They can grow to impressive sizes and live thousands of meters below the surface, where humans rarely travel. Although they do not attack ships like the legendary Kraken, their mysterious lives in the deep ocean helped create one of history's greatest sea monster stories. The Kraken teaches us an important lesson. Sometimes reality is already strange enough without needing monsters. Chapter 6, Jormungandr, the World Serpent. Long before modern maps existed, sailors looked across the ocean and wondered how large the world truly was. In Norse mythology, one creature represented the endless power of the sea. Jormungandr, the world serpent. According to ancient stories, this enormous serpent was so large that it could surround the entire world and hold its own tail. When it moved, the oceans would shake. When it rose, massive waves would follow. The legend described Jormungandr as a creature connected to storms, destruction, and the uncontrollable force of nature. Of course, no serpent has ever been discovered that can circle the planet. But the idea may have been influenced by real animals that amazed ancient people. Large sea snakes, giant eels, and even whale sightings could have inspired stories of enormous creatures hidden below the surface. Before modern science, humans explained the unknown through legends. A strange shape in the distance became a monster. A giant wave became the movement of a hidden beast. A mysterious sound became the call of an unimaginable creature. These stories reveal something important about human nature. We have always been fascinated by what we cannot see. Chapter 7, The Sea Eater, the Ultimate Ocean Mystery. The final creature on our journey is one of the most extreme ideas ever imagined. A creature so enormous that it would not hunt ships. It would change the ocean itself. The sea eater is described in modern legends as a massive deep ocean organism with a body stretching for kilometers and a mouth large enough to swallow anything in its path. Unlike traditional sea monsters that attack from below, this creature represents something even more terrifying. The idea that the ocean itself could contain something beyond our understanding. Scientists have not found evidence of a creature this size. But the ocean has already shown us animals that once seemed impossible. The blue whale is the largest animal ever known to exist on Earth. Giant squid live in a world we are only beginning to explore. Deep-sea creatures survive without sunlight, under crushing pressure, and in conditions that would destroy most life. The truth is, the ocean still holds secrets. Every expedition reveals new species. Every discovery changes what we know about life on Earth. And somewhere in the darkness below, there may still be creatures waiting to be found. Maybe they will not be monsters from legends. Maybe they will be something even more fascinating. Something real. Something that reminds us how little we truly understand about our own planet. The ocean is not just a place filled with water. It is a hidden world. A world of mystery, survival, and endless discovery. So the next time you look at the ocean, remember this. The greatest mysteries are not always somewhere far away. Sometimes, they are right beneath the surface. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, share your thoughts in the comments. Which ocean mysteries should we explore next? Because the deep sea still has many stories left to tell.